Can anybody hear me?
Hello, how's everybody?
Good.
I can hear
Great.
you.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Good.
Hi, Miss Sandy.
Hey, Shar, how are you?
Good.
Hi, Lori. Let's see
Hi.
here. We got speaker view. Let's get gallery view. See all who's here yet. Cool. 4 of us. Barry will be on momentarily. So yeah, we're excited.
I'm excited. This is my first little, yeah, this is the first time I've done this with this group. So this will be great.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're also part of a group that does fiberside chats, different weekend. I think we have like 3 a month. The next one coming up is Felicia Lowe from Sweet Georgia Yarns, and she'll talk about the
Okay.
beauty and the colors and all that good stuff. So yeah,
I had done the fireside chat this past week with Coco Knits.
oh,
with
isn't
Julie
Julie
Weisenberger.
great?
Oh, she's wonderful.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I'm so tempted. I've knitted one of the sweaters, but there's a course in with the local yarn shop, so I think I might do that. It looks really fun.
Yeah, the KAL. So yeah, the knit along. We're going to do that. We have a couple of people who are going to be doing it here in house, and then also the Zoom with. I have a gal, Janet actually is going to be running it via Zoom for us, and then Julie said that she would have a couple of office hours as well. So that'll be really fun.
I would really be interested in that. So that would be on your website. The
I
craft.
don't actually have it plugged in right now. It will, I need to do that. I'm just trying to finalize everything with Janet. Plus I've been
Okay.
in a major marketing webinar all week from noon to 5. So my brain is fried.
It's okay. No worries. I will look for that though.
Now you're what? You're in New Hampshire?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So we do a Coco Knits, Janet will do a Coco Knits class, but she does an all-day class. So it's 10 to 5. So if it's worth the drive down, we have had people come down, spend the day, because pretty much by the time you get done and you leave at 5, you're pretty much at the armhole and ready to just work the rest of the whole yoke area. So
Now,
you're,
what area is that shop located? That's in Massachusetts, right? Near the
yeah,
Cape? Or?
yeah, we're in Northborough, so out near Worcester, between
Oh,
March.
that's not too bad.
Yeah, no, it's not too bad. We're I think an hour from Nashua. So
Oh my gosh. So
it's
I'm
like a straight, it's a pretty easy run because you just come down 495.
And this is through the Craftworks, correct?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to look into that. I would love to do that. That would be great.
Yeah, and Janet. So Julie's roommate in college, Tracy, is our rep. But Tracy's been really nervous about teaching during COVID. Even when we were outside, she was just a little bit. So we did a professional development way before COVID hit, where all of our staff took the class, so everybody knows how to do it. But Janet picked. Janet used to own a yarn shop up in Acton, and she retired, but we got her hooked into teaching for us. So she teaches the Coco Knits workshop for us.
Oh my God, I would love it. And then, so is it limited to so many people? Because obviously it will be inside. Okay.
Yeah, we limit it to 4.
Oh, great.
Normally we probably do about 10, but with the Coco.
Yeah, with the, I know.
Sunday, because then we have nobody in the store until, well, actually all the time now we're open. Our hours are 12 to 6. So we can do classes in the morning or after 6.
That would be so fun to be able to be there and take the class right
Yep.
there and go
Yep.
step by step. I would love that. So
Sure.
what I'll do is I'll keep checking out the website and
Yep.
wait for, do you have any idea, would this be in February or March or?
Well, because she's doing the knit along, I'm not sure that she's going to do the 1-day workshop, but we can talk.
Okay,
If you're
okay,
interested in doing that instead of the knit along, because the knit along actually goes till March.
okay.
So,
Okay, so I'll get on the site. I'll check out the knit along when that gets posted
okay.
and then figure out what would work. I'm really, really hoping to be in Colorado this summer with my family. I haven't seen them in a long time.
Nice.
So my children live in Steamboat and I'm hoping to get out there this summer. So
Cool.
if this, yeah,
We'll try to do it before the summer.
love it. Okay, great. Thank you for
Okay.
that.
Let me just check a couple of things in the store and I'll be back.
Okay, great.
Sure. We still have 4. Okay.
Do you want me to close the register?
No, because we've got,
Oh, you've got her.
Charlotte? I think your speakers, the speakers are off. I don't know if mine's off too.
Nope, your
Oh, okay.
sticker's on.
So where do you live?
I live in Bolton, Mass,
Oh, okay.
which is about a half an hour south of you
Okay, great.
and about a half an hour away from Northborough where the store is. It's easy to get to.
It is? Okay, great.
And I'm one of Andy's instructors.
Oh, you are? Oh,
I
awesome.
am. That's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Good. I hope to be able to get there and do that workshop. I would love that.
Well,
I'm really not.
It's worth a visit. It's a very fun place.
Sounds great. And it's very hard to find anyone that does the cocoa knit designs around
know.
here. There just isn't anyone.
No, you're out of Nashua.
Yes, I live right outside of Nashua.
And so you've lost a couple of really nice yarn stores.
We have.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. You'll love it.
Oh, I love that shop.
I know. I'm bereft.
I love that shop so much. And then we have Twill, which is really great. And she's downsized. She's in Milford, but hours are very limited right now. But You'll Love It was phenomenal.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I miss her.
I'm a lace knitter and a crocheter, and they have had some wonderful staff up there.
Yeah, that was a great shop. I just loved it. Back in the day.
I know.
Yeah. So hi, everybody. I'm Lori. I live in New Hampshire.
We won't hold that against you.
And I'm happy to be here because I'm really excited about this little class. And I have another friend that I think is going to be joining us as well. So I hope she can make it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Where is everybody else? Hi, I'm Barry.
Hi, Barry.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
I hope I have everything I need for this hour.
You know what? You don't need anything because I think it's just a conversation. There's no class involved. So
Great.
it's just a way for us to converse and for me to tell you all about Outlander and all the fun things that we're doing.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome because the group that I knit with, we've in the past been looking for patterns and trying to figure out where to go to get these designs. So this will be really fun.
Well, it's about as official as it gets because it's been signed off by the author and by the TV show. That's why you'll see, and I'll talk about it when we do it, but everything that we do
Great.
has the trademark on it so that you know that it is indeed official and has been certified. And to me, that makes it really important.
Awesome.
Great.
Hi, Barry.
Hi, Andy. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good.
Good, nice to
Sorry
see
for the
you.
mix-up and stuff. These all-day webinars are just driving me crazy. And of course, all week long, I'm like,
I know. It's become our new world, but we're not ready for it yet.
No.
so let's see who. So Lori, Jennifer, there's, bye, see you later. Just trying to see. I have no clue. All right, let's see.
Sharon, what are you wearing? You've got a gorgeous scarf on. I like the colors, the fuchsia and
Oh, no,
orange.
Sweater. It's a sweater.
It's a sweater. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks great.
Thank you.
It must be cold where you are. You're layered up there.
I'm always cold. My
Yeah,
head gets
it's
cold.
cold.
Yeah.
It's cold. So Lori is
I
here.
won't tell you that they're planning on it being 90 tomorrow here.
Where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles. It's ridiculous. We can't figure out how to have a winter or
Oh
even
my
any rain.
gosh, 90 degrees.
I know.
Wow.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Is that unseasonable for now?
Yeah. Normally it's in the 60s. Like over the weekend, it was
Oh,
in the
wow.
60s. It was exactly as it should be. A little gray, sun during the day. You could go out and you can walk, but all of a sudden they've decided, okay, let's give them a heat wave. They've got nothing else to worry about.
90 degrees? Oh my
90,
goodness.
yeah, just for 2 days.
No matter
but-
where you are.
Yeah, but
Not always
still,
a good
it's,
sign in January.
So Sharon's one of my knitters and she knit up the sample.
Oh, yay. That's gorgeous. She did the
It's
lace
just
fichu.
beautiful.
wow, that's amazing.
It is
Yeah.
beautiful.
I started it and I couldn't wrap my head around the sets in the
Right.
center. So I said, Sharon, here.
Wow.
We all need a Sharon.
Beautiful.
It's just beautiful.
The rows just got really long, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
and once you got to a certain point, it didn't matter, and you just knit it, and it was fine. So
Well, I think it's supposed to be wrapped around and then crossed and tied in the back.
It depends
Oh,
how you
that
want to
sounds
wear it. So I
great.
usually leave ours because it corkscrews, but you'll see on most of these things, they're built so you can wear them however it's comfortable on your body.
it came out really long. The picture in the book doesn't look as long as it actually turned out to be.
Yeah. And they may have pinned it. Who knows? We never know the mystery of what they do behind the camera.
No, don't say that.
Okay, so we're just missing Susan. And I have two other instructors who are joining us, but
Okay.
I guess
Cindy's hiding out in the dark and in the silence in the bottom.
Cindy Kelly. So Cindy, why don't you turn on your microphone and your video camera so we can see you and say hello.
I'll turn off my phone. I'll be right back.
There she
There
is.
she is.
Cindy.
Hi,
Hello.
Cindy.
Hi.
A lot of noise here, so I'm gonna probably stay on mute if that's okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
So I have to tell you a funny story. I was on, it's called Whiz Bang Retailers, and it was a huge webinar today. My husband's been out of town for a few days, and I moved upstairs. We live in a kind of a 55 and older, so smaller house. And he had a friend over, so they were making too much noise, so I went upstairs. And my husband came in and put his face right in the camera. And he's got this big white beard thing. And then he turned around and kissed me to tell me he was going out. 157 people on this webinar.
Oh, I love it.
So embarrassed. At which point Bob turned around and kissed his wife on the cheek. So there's the whole thing. So it was just hilarious.
That's adorable.
Here's my friend Susan.
Hi, Susan.
Hey. All right.
Oh, it's so good to see you.
It's great to be here, Lori.
Okay. So Barry, if you want to get going, I know there's a couple more that are going to jump on, but they were kind of after work kind of thing and still
Okay.
head home and whatnot.
No problem. I don't know if you need to pin it in order to make it full screen. That's up to you. I'm fine however you choose to do it. It's just going to be really relaxed. All right. We're going to keep it all really simple. Normally when we have 50 people or something like that, we tend to put everyone on quiet and I do my thing and then we open it up. There's maybe going to be 12 of us by the time everyone's here. So if you want to leave your mics open, it really is fine. If you have questions, ask it as we go through it. It doesn't need to wait until the end. For those of you who don't know me, I own Trendsetter Yarns, and I've been doing this for forever. It's the best way to put it. My company is 32 years old, but I have been selling yarn and working with yarn for almost 50 years now. And being part of Outlander is just another fun aspect of who I am and what I do. How I got into all of this is my mom had a knitting store when I was growing up, and it was knitting and needlepoint. And when people came into the store, we didn't sell any pattern books. When people came in, we had a wall of finished pieces, and then we had a wall of swatches. So all the different yarns and all the things that people did, we had a wall of swatches, and people would come in and we'd have a wall of pictures, and they would say, I want that front, that back, that neck, that sleeve. And I really like that swatch. So can you do it in those yarns right there? And we would take their body measurements and we would hand write out the pattern for everybody.
Hi.
So it doesn't exist anymore. It's a very rare art form, but it's why I love what I do, because the things that we do for Trendsetter aren't handed to us. They're things that I get to design, that I get to work with other stores and other designers, and we get to share the things that we love. And that's how I came to be part of Outlander. I've done sweaters in the movie industry. I don't know if you've heard it, but Freddy Krueger, the Nightmare on Elm Street guy. Well, I didn't design the original sweaters, but I've knit most of them.
Oh,
Wow.
And so I've done a bunch of crazy stuff, a Coca-Cola scarf that had to get done in 2 nights. There's a whole bunch of things, but that's my connection to the industry, is being in Los Angeles. And so when they decided to do the Outlander book, they started searching, and they went to one of the retail stores near me. And she said, I know who you're looking for. Here's Barry's number. Call him and talk to him. And so I'm very grateful to Edith for being that kind, because she could have taken this project on herself. And the book for Outlander, that's, if you haven't seen it, that's the cover. And my connection to the book is I've been working with Kate Atherley, and she's an independent editor and designer. She lives up in Canada. And we worked together. She picked all of the designers. They submitted to us ideas. And how it all came together is we were asked, tell us the character you love. Why do you love them? What about their outfits? What about who they are translates into the garments that they wear throughout the series? And if it's not something that they wear, is it a color?
14.5 is sponsored by New England Dental Group.
Somebody's got their TV on.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. I need to,
Yeah,
I'm going to leave and come back.
it might be
Okay,
good
or
if
just turn your
everybody
sound down.
mutes. Just if we mute while Barry's talking and then unmute if you have a question.
Just quickly tell me how to mute.
Down at the bottom, you're going to see on the far left-hand
It's like a little microphone.
microphone.
Got it.
Okay, there you go. You are muted. All right. Hi, Elizabeth. All right. So what happened is that all these designers sent us all the data. Who was their favorite character? What chapter? What issue? Have they seen the TV show? And from there, Kate and I sat and we looked at all the different yarns between the collections. Trendsetter is the more fashionable collection. It's the yarns that I do. It has more textures and details to it. but we also distribute for GGH, which is a German company, and they have more classic 100% pure fibers. For Lana Grossa, which is also a German company, and they've got the more blended fibers, but very colorful. And then Cardiff Cashmere, which is our pure cashmere line. And when Kate and I we sat for a couple of days talking and looking at things. Our job was to put together the yarns for each of the designs so that we could help stay true to Outlander. During the time that the shows took place, things were pure. They didn't know from acrylic. How were colors made? There was no machine process. There was no elongated dye. All the things that we get to appreciate today couldn't have existed at the time of Outlander. And so my job with Kate was to help put the fibers together. After that, my job was done. Kate did her job. She worked with the editor. I don't know if you've had a chance to look through the book, read the book. It came as a complete surprise to me. In my imagination, I figured it was going to be, a 25 or 30 page book, and just with pictures of the sweaters done like a regular knitting book from, Annie Blatt or Rowan or something like that. Instead, they made this a real tabletop book. The stories are in there. You get to understand why each of the designers picked their characters, what about their characters were important to them, and then how the yarns became part of the discussion for that character. I think the book is a really good read. I keep mine next to me on the sofa, and I pick it up all the time. I've had the privilege to have all the sweaters and pieces, but I've knit about 6 of them at this point. And the patterns are fantastic. They really went into detail, all the charts, all the graphs, and I'll explain more of that as I go through it. So the other side of it, and this is where Trendsetter gets involved now, is that because most of the yarn, there's 20 designs, 15 of the 20 designs are from Trendsetter or one of our brands. And working with Sony Studios, we created all of the kits. And so we have special packaging. The packaging, my gardener is here at the moment. Hopefully you can't hear him. All of the packaging is reusable. So in the beginning, we tried to do things that would be natural to keep it true to Outlander, but then you wouldn't be able to see any of the colors. So instead we went with things that are recycled and things that can be used again. So they're really beautiful little tote bags, all different sizes depending on the kits. And on the bottom of every kit is a piece of tissue paper. And you can't see it in the kit here, but when you open it, it's a map of the world, because the subject matter and all of Outlander doesn't take place in just one place. They travel throughout history, but they travel throughout different countries and different areas. And so we made sure that every detail of the packaging stayed true also to who it is. And then there's gorgeous hang tags on the cover so that you can see what the design is. And then inside, you can see all the different colors that are available for each of them. You can also see all of this on our website. Andy has access to everything that we do. We package this for her and for you. So at trendsetteryarns.com, right on our homepage, you'll see Outlander, and there's a whole section. You can see every design, every color. And the other thing that we'll do is we can't use every color humanly possible. So if you love a design, but there's not a color that you like, or Sharon knit one of the scarves, she knit the lace fichu shawl, there's 8 colors in there, but the yarn comes in 20 colors. So if she wants to knit it again, and it's not a color that we already do, look online, look at the yarn, and just let Andy know. And we've done lots of custom pieces. A lot of people like their own original combination, so it makes it even that much more special. Happy to do that. There's no additional cost in putting that together for you. So everyone okay so far? All right. I just want to read something to you from the book. I get asked all the time, what was the purpose of the book? And I think right on the inside cover, they summed it up beautifully. And it just says, from the Scottish Highlands to the courts of Versailles, to the eastern shores of North America, the TV show Outlander brings to life in gorgeous detail the epic love story of Jamie Fraser and Claire Beauchamp Randall, New knitters of all skill levels can knit 20 projects of apparel, accessories, and home decor. And this takes inspiration from memorable episodes. Each project includes a clearly written pattern, gorgeous photography, and a scene from the show's set. The book is a love letter to our fans. Outlander Knitting will transport you back in time to the Scottish Highlands. And I can assure you, they were 100% true. There are no false details in there. They really do make you fall in love with Outlander. And if you already are in love, you're gonna love what they've done with it because it'll carry you forward. So I'm gonna show you some of the pieces that I have. This is going to be the piece that is probably the most identifiable. It's the piece from the front cover. It was one of the first pieces recognized as authentic knitwear in the show itself. And if you ever Google search Outlander pieces, or if you go onto Ravelry, you're gonna see this piece done, I don't know, 1,000 different times. In the book itself, we give you the instructions to make it just as the original was. But in order to make it authentic, the designer did their own version of it. And so it is much bigger. It is done in a pure alpaca. It starts at the bottom. And as it's increased, which is done with the 2 yarn overs in the center, it creates the diagonal of the colors that counterbalance the diagonal of the edge trim. So in the original, Claire wears it and it stops right at her waist. In this version of it, it's much bigger so that you can wear it down the back and just let the fronts hang. The new way people are wearing things is over the shoulders, and that will stay. And that way, when you walk into a room, the whole design shows, and it creates a really neat character to the piece instead of looking very traditional. And that's because of the length. So in the pattern book, both versions of it are in there. This one again is done from the point up, and the original is done with short rows. One technique is not better than the other. It's just a matter of picking what you like. If you like it shorter because you are shorter, or you don't like things that are really long, because it's worked from the bottom, you can stop this wherever you want. You don't have to make it as big and as extended as it is. Personally, I like the size. I like the drama that it has. So this is called the Rent Shawl. And this piece is one of my favorites. I've knit this a few times, and this is called the River Run Shawl. In the book, it's in red. And let me see if I can find it real quickly here for you. We had to split up a couple of our pieces. Here we go. So that's the piece in the book. Just a real beautiful fire engine red. And River Run is a place that Claire is taken to. And all the details in this, there's a woman wearing a gorgeous red dress. And at the edge of her dress, she's wearing a piece of lace that sits underneath. And that's how the designer put this together, and that's why the color is red. It is garter stitch. It starts up in the corner of the center. It builds out, so it's circular. And at the bottom is a lace trim. So if you're a new knitter, this is a perfect piece. Being garter stitch and extending out from there, it just continues to grow. The other part that's really nice, and where the details and why the book is so impressive, is the border is a multiple of 12 stitches plus 7. And so the author tells you that if you want this longer, buy a little bit extra yarn. Just make sure that at the time that you go to change to the lace, make sure that the number of stitches you have is divisible by 12 plus 7. That way you don't have to recalculate. You can use the lace border instructions as it is. To me, that's brilliant. I've read and seen lots of pattern books and all they say is make it the size that you want and then adjust the border, and they leave it up to you. In this case, it's not done that way. The other thing that they say in there is that the original yarn it's knit in is a yarn called New York. It's a pure wool, it's an organic wool, and it is absolutely beautiful, but it's fairly thin, that if you play with gauge, you can make it bigger. So we used our Merino 6 to do this version of it. And so proportionately, you can see just how much bigger this is. It's a really, really beautiful sized cape. And the best part of it is the lace trim. It's a real easy eyelet lace pattern. They do gorgeous little baubles on it. And it's done in a brushed cashmere. Sorry about that. My phone never rings. Okay, so it's designed in such a way that you can do the same thing like we did on the last shawl. You can wear it wrapped around the body and let it hang. And it just sits as really beautiful trim. It sits really nicely over the shoulders. You can also take it, not wrap it, and wear it nice and natural. And it just sits against the body. So you have some yarn options. Like I said, the original is done in a yarn called New York. It's a pure merino. We did it, same pattern, same instructions, no different. Here it's done in Merino 6. It just gave us more color options. So again, same design, different yarn. You pick it the way that you want it. One of the classic pieces also, and this is on the back cover of the book. Make that show. So notice the detail on Claire's top. Get that to show. So the top is laced together to create a diamond shape. And this is played out throughout the entire book. But here, this is the original. It's a little shoulder cape with a tie. And then here's the new one. And this is done in a yarn from Trendsetter called Me. And it's actually called Me because when I designed the yarn, I was sitting and knitting it. I finally got it from the design team. And the person I was knitting with, Carrie, looked at me and she said, "You have a look in your face right now. I have not seen you smile like that in a long time." And I said, you know what? Everything about this yarn is me. I love the texture. I love the color. The details of the yarn is that it looks like it's a hand dye, but it uses pure unspun merino. So you can see the thick, thin texture. And the way that it's dyed is it's a powdered dye. And when the yarn is wet, the dye sits and floats and sits right on top. So underneath, the yarn stays white. And then the colors dye dark to light throughout the yarn. And so when we decide, okay, we're doing the yarn, we need to name it, Carrie looked at me and she goes, well, you have to name it Me because it is you. It made you happy. So the yarn is now called Me for that reason. And this is just a great little cape. Depending on where you live, it's a really neat accessory. You can keep it buttoned, you can unbutton it. I've seen people make it double the length. They just buy 2 kits. And as they work it, they just continue to make it longer. So again, there's design options. And it's just a really graceful, very feminine cape. Takes just a couple of balls. I've knit this 3 or 4 times because I wanted to see the different colors. It's a weekend project. I am a fast knitter, but you're on really big needles. So if you need a gift to give, perfect gift. So far, I got a call, I think it was Friday, and somebody said, okay, name off the kits that you've sold the best. And this would be one of them for sure. This is called the Randall Fraser. So this is a piece that ties both of the main characters together. And in the show itself, the person wearing it is Claire's daughter. And it actually is Claire and Jamie. She is actually Claire and Jamie's daughter. She just hasn't figured it out yet. And it is done with intarsia. It's done, it's done in Fair Isle. It's done from the top down. There are some short rows in here, but the pattern is designed so that you change colors every 2 rows, so that moving the colors down is very easy. It's worked in one piece up to the sleeves, then the sleeves go on a holder, you do the body, you pick up the sleeves, and it's done. They've done it in lots of sizes. There's great color combinations, and it's one of the few pieces that design-wise is done big enough for a man if it wasn't designed for a man. So the next piece I have in my queue of things to do is Randall Fraser, because I would wear this in a heartbeat, just not in the size that it is, because the part of me you don't want to see hanging out would be my stomach. So for sure, I will be making this longer. But from a design aspect, I love the rounded details, and the colors and the stitch work and the design is really beautiful. This is also done in the same merino that we used in here. So we've kept it again true 100%. It is superwash. Back in the 1700s, I'm sure they didn't have superwash. I don't have to put money on it, but I can promise you they didn't have superwash, but we kept it true to the 100% merino. We just wanted it in a thicker gauge, but really true, strong, clear colors. And it looks very similar to the original sweater in the book. And this is the Randall Fraser. This sweater has created the most emotions. Whenever I do a discussion or whenever people want to do things, this is one where everyone says, when I read the story, it tugs at my heartstrings. And this is called The Man I Left Behind. It is also Fair Isle. It is also done in the pure merino. But the story behind it is that Claire hears a song. She hears them playing this song at Columns Hall. And it's the lyrics of a woman who goes through a stone. And when she wakes up, she realizes the story, that her life has turned into a story. And indeed, that's what happens for Claire. During this song, she imagines sitting at home is her husband. And for those of you who know the story, Claire and her husband loved each other, but it was not an effusive love. They never smiled. He never was very adoring towards her, which is why she's so attracted to Jamie. But she realizes now that when she thinks about him, and if you go back and look at the episode, and it's even in the book, she thinks of her husband and she sees a smile on his face. And she realizes that at one point he was the love of her life and that he is the man she left behind. So if you're a gushy mushy person, and I can be that kind of person, The Man I Left Behind is one that brings out all the emotions. From a knitting standpoint, it is back to being Fair Isle. You can see the floats all in through here. The other thing that they've done throughout the book is that they've given you reasons to learn new techniques. This is done in a technique called steeking. And the first time I heard about steeking, it made me freak out. I broke out in a sweat. And what steeking does is you're working circular. And in the area where you're going to cut something out, you're twisting your yarns. And then you take a scissor and you start cutting. You take a deep breath, you say all the prayers that you need to say, and then you start cutting. But from a detail standpoint, you don't have 8 million tails to carry. That's what steeking looks like. So on the inside, this really was circular at one point, but you cut along the edge of the steek, your stitches stay right there, nothing happens to them, and you create the armhole. So if you decided that you wanted to do this vest, but you wanted it a button-down vest, the steeking technique that you've learned here can be done right down the center as well. And at the very end, you can steek coming straight up. So another wonderful aspect of the book is that it's constantly giving you new ideas and new techniques to look at and new techniques to do.
Charlotte, are you?
Did somebody have a question?
I just want to
No.
make sure Charlotte's all right. Charlotte's one that will pass out when you mention steeking. About that one. Charlotte's one of my teachers.
Oh, yeah, it's a scary idea, but it does work. It really does work.
I lost the sewing machine in the property settlement. That was the problem.
Well, I can't help you with that part of it, unfortunately. Out of all the pieces in the book, this would be the #1 piece, sales-wise. The most pieces I've seen done, the most pieces I've seen people do multiples of, and this is called the lace fichu. What's beautiful about it is that it's done in a pure merino, but it's a stranded merino, and each of the plies has a different shade to it. So it's very, very subtle. The best part about it is normally to make lace work, it's done in stockinette, which, as we all know, stockinette means that there is a purl row. The old P word, and most people hate the P word. You don't mind the K word, knitting, easy. Purl, not so much fun. In this case, the designer created the lace all against garter stitch. So you can see all the garter stitch, and the lace definitely still shows up. And it's back to that diamond pattern. When I showed you the back of the pattern book and I said, look at the neckline, that the lace ties create the diamonds. Well, this diamond design flows throughout almost all of the pieces that have lace. What everyone's loved about it, because I usually ask, what makes you fall in love with a piece? #1, it's big. If I keep going, it's my arm width. So it's probably about 72 to 80 inches, fingertip to fingertip. And the way that it's designed with the increases, these roll so that when it sits on the body, it creates what I call a really neat corkscrew so that it doesn't just sit there. It's definitely part of the design. And I'll scoot this back a little bit so you can see that it's a really neat aspect of the design. Also, it adds enough weight that when you're wearing it, if you're walking and you move your arms, it's not going to fall off of you. It's going to stay on the body. It is a really fun pattern to do. What's going to happen is that you're going to learn to read your knitting. And if you're not somebody that learns to read your knitting, you're going to want to, because as it gets bigger, you end up with a couple hundred stitches. Sharon, do you remember how many stitches you had? Sorry, your sound is off.
544 on the last row.
There you go. That's a couple hundred and times 2. So you will have lots of stitches, but the pattern is really obvious and you can see it as you're going. If you're somebody that has to sit and look at a book and read every row, I will beg you now, don't run away from doing it, but please learn to read your knitting, because you'll see where yarn overs are, you'll see where decreases are. It will make your life a whole lot better. And it is a really beautiful yarn. The quality of it, it is pure merino, but the subtle shades to it are magnificent. And I will say that there are some shades that we didn't do in kits, and people are loving them. So it doesn't have to stay in this shape. You can fall in love with it, and we can do other things with it as well. So lace fichu. From the wearable side, This is the Savot. I can't ever pronounce this one correctly, but I think it's Savot des Anges. It's a French word, didn't learn French in high school or college, but it takes place when Claire and Jamie go to Versailles. The original piece is based off of color. Claire is wearing a gorgeous gold dress, and it has a circular yoke to it, and then it flares out from there. So the designer selected a gold color. This is done in a yarn called Ultimoda Cashmere Fine. So it is merino with a touch of cashmere. And the reason for it is that it has great elasticity. I can sit and pull it like that, and when I let go of it, it bounces right back. I can do the same thing width-wise. I can take it, pull it like that, shake it, and it bounces right back. It's all about all the sheerness and the draping that's in here. And it needs to have yarn that has elasticity. The Ultimoda Cashmere Fine is a chained yarn. A chained yarn is circular, and it has little hooks that come out of the top like little crochet hooks. And the yarn goes over the hook and it's pulled. It creates a tube coming down and an airspace in the middle. So in a 50-gram ball, there's close to 300 yards. It goes on forever, and the colors stay very, very true and very clear. And the detail in this is back to all of the diamonds that we looked at. I'm not sure how much of it's going to show in the camera here. But there's arrows, there's diamonds. It's a real easy lace pattern. And then it's got the tight yoke so that it goes back to the shape of the dress that Claire was wearing in Versailles. The only difference between this one and the original is in the book, they tied a gold ribbon on the neck. And it's the only thing in the entire book that I have questioned. The ribbon had a metal edge. It's gift wrap ribbon. Well, Claire would never have worn gift wrap or gift wrap ribbon. And when you tie it, you've got this gorgeous, elegant draping vest and this bow that came out like a big smile off to the sides. So I cut it off. So when you see it in the book, you will notice that ribbon that's there. If you like a ribbon closure, there are some gorgeous ribbons that you can find. Just make sure it's a draping ribbon and not one that has metal and the border. But keep it soft, keep it detailed. And there's a phrase that I use all the time, and that is, let the yarn do part of the work. In this case, it's the elasticity in the yarn, the detail in the yarn, the construction that lets this drape stay circular and sit really beautifully on the body. And it's because it is the Ultimoda Cashmere Fine. So this is Savot des Anges, and it's tied into the book and to the character of Claire based off of color. The other pieces that people have had lots of fun with, definitely the Dune Sock. So you can see on here, we're back to that diamond pattern like the closure on Claire's dress. Here's that diamond. It's a floating diamond that starts at the point and continues all the way up the sock. It's along the heel and the back of the sock. If you're a sock knitter, this is a true sock yarn. One ball will do both socks. I only have one here today, but it did do the entire pair. And it is designed for a man or a woman, and it's sized that way as well. Gorgeous, gorgeous colors. Even the heel has gorgeous detail. So you can see all the lace and all the turning details that are in the sock. And the color for this one was selected because the castle that they go to is called Dune Castle. And the color of the clay used was cream. So Dune Sock. And this is for Mrs. Lovat. Every family has a color scheme. And this is part of Jamie's family. In Jamie's family, grays, blues, and lavender. And in the book itself, you're going to see that Claire's wearing a blanket as they're riding in a carriage, and these are Jamie's family colors. Fair Isle is also Scottish. And so this is a Fair Isle designed to keep it true to Jamie's family heritage. This is a really beautiful cowl. It just sits right around the neck. And then they've designed hand warmers, not designed for my hands, obviously, but you'll get the idea. A hand warmer to go along with it. And there are two, but I had to split things up. So the instructions are there for both hands. What's neat about this one is it's a yarn called Wish. So it is a beautiful wool, and injected into the yarn are colors and little pieces of other colors. And when the designer that was working on this got the yarn and we told her the name, she said, at first, I couldn't decide on colors. And I wasn't sure that it was the right yarn for what I wanted to do. When I saw the name and I sat and I was knitting it, I knew it was a winner. Because the whole story of Outlander is a wish. We all wish to find true love, to find true happiness, not to have to fall through a stone in order to do it, not to have to go back and forth and not to have to hide things. And so she felt that her wish came true in knitting with Wish, because she gets to be one of the designers. She got to pick one of her favorite characters, and this designer loves doing Fair Isle. So her wishes came true. And so we have Lovat's mitts and cowl. And a piece that gets rave reviews is the Remembrance. And it's called the Remembrance cover. So during the time that this takes place, it's covering a tea cozy. And there's two symbols on here, the large oak leaf and acorns. They're very symbolic of Jamie, and it takes place in the time that there's a movement. And oak leaves mean the future. The crisscross design also means the future. And we're back to the same yarn called Wish. There's a gorgeous gusset in the side of it as well. I have had a lot of people make this, and they wear it as a hat because it is big enough to be worn as a hat. What I have to share with you is that I'm not a tea drinker, but many years ago, as a gift, I got a really fun teapot. And it looks like it's been knit. So it never gets used, but it sits out as a piece of artwork in my house. And this is for the River Run Shawl, the River Run tea cover. And it reminds us that you can be revived. You get to enjoy your knitting, you get to enjoy the show, and a good cup of tea, it will revive you. And the very last piece that I brought home to show you is my participation as one of the designers. It didn't rack my brain. And it's the least, I hate to say interesting, because it's the easiest one to do. It's a knit one, purl one rib. I selected a yarn called Basis, which is a cotton base, but it has alpaca blended into it. And so it's a knit one, purl one rib, and then it changed to a purl one, knit one. So there is some detail in here, but it was designed extra long. And this is from a character, Mrs. Fitzgibbons. And I've been surrounded by women my entire life. And all of the women that I have the best relationships with are feisty. And so Mrs. Fitzgibbons, you see her for the first time wearing arm warmers, she is cooking, and she is being bitchy. So I loved her instantly. I said, all right, she can cook and she can be mean and nasty. She's taken no prisoners. So she was my character. And I just thought, you know what? She just needs something simple because of who she is and what she does. So Mrs. Fitz's arm warmers is my contribution to the Outlander book. And if you don't, like in this case, I selected the one with the white background. The yarn also comes with a black background, and I brought a kit home to show you. So depending again on seasons and where you live and what you like. All right, Not easy to get into these kits. Here we go. So now you can see the yarn. That's it with a black binder. And you can see that the colors shade. This one is a gray and fuchsia, but it comes in green and fuchsia, green and black. And again, white backgrounds or black backgrounds, depending on the kind of shades that you like. And that's what I brought to show you and to tell you about Outlander. It's a really fun project. There's great things to do. There's stores that are doing classes. I've taught River Run as a class multiple times. And I hope that you will participate in the fun of Outlander. It's really neat to do.
Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Does everybody want to unmute themselves? And does anybody have any questions for Barry or?
I do have a question about the Dune Sock.
Yeah.
Would it be toe up?
That's a really good question. I have not done that. I'm not a sock knitter.
Oh, okay.
It actually does not look like it's from the toe up.
Good.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it because there's no seam up here and there's no cast on here. So I would imagine it's top down.
Okay, super. Great.
How do you spell the Ultramara chain yarn? How do you spell that?
Which one? Sorry.
Ultramara. Cebu, the Cebu.
Okay, it's Altamoda Cashmere. It's AM, the letters A, M, then the word cashmere.
Oh.
Fine. So it's Altamoda, which means high fashion. We just abbreviate it as AM, the word cashmere, and the word fine because they also did it thicker and we opted for the fine version.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. In fact, here's a ball of it.
Ah.
Oh,
you can see the subtle shading in it. And
really beautiful.
That's the sponginess of it. I can take it and I can pull it and you can see the memory. It bounces right back. And it's all because of the construction, which is chained.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Very special yarn.
Barry, the Randall Fraser sweater.
Yep.
I've never done intarsia before.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure, is that just a particular stitch or no? Okay.
Okay, what they're doing in here is more fair isle.
Fair isle.
Okay.
Okay.
So what you're going to be doing is carrying all the colors as you go around and around. Right. And you're going to want to learn how to keep your yarn in both hands.
Oh.
That you're not constantly having to drop. It's very easy and you will get the hang of it. The nice part about doing fair isle in neck down or top down is that there's no purling.
Oh.
You literally are knitting every row and the pattern is very graphic. So you'll be able to see it. You also have about 3 inches between the neckline and just all the cocoa, the background color, to get used to working it. The minute you start doing the fair isle, you're going to understand the process. It's a matter of how you're twisting your yarns and how you're carrying them along on the inside so that you don't get any holes.
Beautiful.
Okay.
You'll be fine.
Beautiful. I love that sweater.
It is a great sweater. Yeah,
Gorgeous.
I agree. And the color combinations that it comes in, one is more beautiful than the next. And people have really customized it too. So I know one day we're going to have a fashion show of Randall Fraser's.
Awesome.
Barry, this is Charlotte. I did have a question on the fichu.
Yeah.
I think it's reversible.
Yes.
Because of the garter. That's a lovely feature.
It is. Yep. It also has a gorgeous, let me grab it. It has a gorgeous picot edge. I mean, it's down to every detail.
Oh my God.
That's the edging.
Isn't that fun?
So it's not just bound off at the end. It's done with this beautiful little trimmed, little ruffled edge.
Beautiful.
The designer really put all the details into the pattern.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
And Sharon is alive and well, so I guess it's doable.
That Pico edge was much easier than you would think. It really, and it went so much faster than I was expecting it to. So don't be intimidated by that one.
It
That's
really is.
great.
They have done such a good job explaining things, like even in River Run, people have been nervous about the lace border, saying I've not done lace before, or, you know, it's all garter stitch. When I get there, am I going to understand what to do? I've had 0 phone calls and 0 people saying, can we do a Zoom? Because I'm lost. I don't get it. The chart is easy. It's a basic stitch technique. It's yarn overs and knit 2 togethers. All of it works beautifully. They've done a very nice job translating.
That's great.
It's great.
This was so fun.
Really.
Good.
It was. Thank you so much.
It's truly my pleasure. Along the way, if you have any questions, Andy knows how to get in touch with me. You can always go to trendsetteryarns.com and it says contact us on there. It doesn't go directly to me. It goes to Heidi or Anita, but they always know how to get in touch with me. And I can promise you, I will always answer you. I teach all over the world. I teach all the time. And one of the things I hear most of all is that you never leave us just sitting out there. I want to make sure that you always enjoy what you're doing. There's a method to my madness. I sell yarn. So if you don't enjoy what you're doing and you don't continue knitting, you don't add to your stash, and I don't get to see you again. Hopefully down the road, it won't be in this fashion or just in this fashion. Yeah, I have warned everybody that as soon as they allow us to be together, I'm hugging everybody because I can't take it anymore.
It was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you so much. It was great.
It's my pleasure. And again, I hope to see everyone again. And please enjoy Outlander, enjoy Andy and all the stuff that she offers to you. And hopefully we'll connect again on something else.
That would be awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
All
very
right.
Thank you
much.
so
Would
much,
love it.
Thank you so
Barry.
much, Barry.
Well, everybody, my
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Stay
Good
safe.
night,
Bye, Bear.
everybody.
That's my goal for everyone. Stay safe.
Good night.
Really
Good
enjoyed
Everybody.
it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.